Welcome. We're taking you today on a journey deep into the shadows, into places where history doesn't just stay buried, or maybe ancient evils still whisper. Today isn't just about looking at an old landmark. No, we're pulling back the veil on the chilling history and the legends that just won't die surrounding one of Ireland's most notorious ruins, the infamous Hellfire Club. Our sources, they're just brimming with accounts of the supernatural, whispers of, frankly, unspeakable acts and events on Montpelier Hill that still seem unexplained. Our mission really is to unearth these terrifying stories, to kind of immerse you in that eerie atmosphere and maybe leave you with a bit of that lingering unease, like the legends themselves have done for centuries. So maybe dim the lights, settle in, let's explore this dark corner of history. To really get a grip on the dread surrounding the Hellfire Club, we have to go right back to the beginning, back to 1725. Now, this wasn't some ancient ruin at first. It was actually quite a grand hunting lodge, built for the powerful, the privileged elite of Dublin parliamentarians, aristocrats, influential men. But this wasn't just built on any scenic spot, was it? There was something about its construction, a choice they made, that set a sinister tone right from the start.
That's absolutely right. What's really unsettling isn't just what they built, but where they decided to put it and how. The lodge went up right on top of Montpelier Hill. And this site, well, it had been sacred for thousands of years. It housed a prehistoric passage tomb. And these weren't just, mounds of earth. They were ancient burial places, deeply respected in local tradition, often seen as gateways maybe to the spirit world or resting places for powerful ancestors. So to desecrate a site like that, even back then, it was seen as a huge act of sacrilege, almost like sending out an invitation for bad things to happen.
And they didn't just build near it. They actually took stones from the ancient tomb itself, incorporated them right into the club's walls. It's hard to think of a more direct slap in the face to local beliefs. And the immediate result, well, according to the legends, it was pretty dramatic. Very soon after it was finished, this violent storm just blew up, tore the roof right off the brand new lodge. And people didn't just chalk it up to bad weather. Oh no, it was instantly seen by locals as the devil's anger, a direct supernatural reaction for disturbing that sacred ground. Remarkably, though, despite this dramatic start and all the dark rumors that immediately started swirling, the Hellfire Club itself in that specific building, well, it only operated for about 6 years initially, but wow, what a lasting dark impression those 6 years made.
It is fascinating, isn't it? How quickly those legends took root, even in such a short time. The lack of detailed records for these kinds of secret clubs often means that, well, the public's imagination fills in the blanks. And during those active years, the whispers just got louder, painting this vivid picture of what was supposedly going on inside. People talked about dark masses, blasphemous versions of religious ceremonies, and truly debauched behavior. Parties that really pushed the limits of what was considered acceptable. There was even talk about this peculiar drink made of whiskey and butter, which, maybe it was just a local thing, but it became linked with their sort of illicit gatherings.
But among all those stories, there's one ritual that really stands out. It's particularly chilling and comes up again and again in the sources. The idea that the club members always kept an empty seat saved, specifically for the devil himself, like an open invitation.
Precisely. And that practice, along with their chosen mascot, a black cat, which is so often tied to witchcraft and the occult, it really amplified those satanic vibes. Legends even claim a huge black demon cat still wanders the woods around the hill, like a physical sign of the club's dark influence. What's really interesting is how these specific things, desecration, wild behavior, deals with the devil, became so central to the Hellfire Club story. Often you find these kinds of tales served as warnings, maybe against the perceived immorality of the upper classes. Or perhaps it was just a way for ordinary people to process their fears about power running unchecked.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the stories, they only got more disturbing. They really went into horrifying territory. Our sources mention whispers of human sacrifices, animal sacrifices too, gruesome satanic rituals performed late at night, and even demonic manifestations seen by anyone unlucky enough to stumble too close. It's really hard now to separate what might have actually happened from, all the layers of fear and folklore. But the sheer consistency of these dark tales paints a picture of a place just steeped in, profound perceived evil. While the general rumors painted this picture of depravity, it's really the individual stories, the specific accounts, that burn the Hellfire Club into your mind. These aren't just vague rumors. They're harrowing stories passed down. Each one adds another dark layer to the club's reputation. Take, for example, the really chilling story of the curious farmer. This young guy, driven by this, fatal curiosity, sneaked up Montpelier Hill one night. He wanted to spy on a meeting, uncover the secrets these gentlemen guarded so fiercely, but his luck ran out. fast. He was found by the members, dragged inside, and forced to watch whatever unholy things were happening that night. The sources don't spell out exactly what he saw, but it must have been unimaginably horrific. Because the next morning, he was found just wandering nearby, completely changed. He was deaf, mute, couldn't speak a word, couldn't even remember his own name, and he apparently spent the rest of his life like that, just a shell. A living warning, really, about the club's dark power, his mind utterly broken by whatever he was forced to see.
That's a terrifying detail, host. It really highlights that common theme in folklore, the danger of forbidden knowledge. The idea that just seeing these things could break someone's mind. It's a lot about how extreme people believe the club's activities were. A powerful warning story.
And the stories certainly don't get any lighter. There's another really disturbing rumor that still haunts the area, about a local farmer's daughter. The story goes she was kidnapped, murdered, and then in this act of just ultimate evil, eaten by the club members. The sheer brutality, the inhumanity suggested by that specific legend. It's enough to make your blood run cold, makes you really question what depths people are capable of sinking to. But maybe the most detailed and truly terrifying account, the one that supposedly led to the club's first destruction, is the clergyman's ordeal. This whole saga kicked off when a young man visiting a local farm got adventurous and insisted on checking out the Hellfire Club one night by himself. He was found dead the next day, face down in a mountain stream. His death was immediately suspicious, and many believed the club was involved. Murdered. His host, the farmer, was deeply shaken. Seeking answers, maybe revenge, he begged a local clergyman to go back up to the club with him. So as they climbed Montpelier Hill, darkness was falling, casting these long, eerie shadows over the ruins. They got to the club, knocked on the big, heavy door. And it was opened by this tall man, cloaked all in black. The second they stepped inside, hands grabbed them from behind. They were rushed into this dimly lit dining room where a banquet seemed about to start. Forced into chairs around a big table, basically made to join this unholy gathering. And then the demonic presence that supposedly made itself known, unmistakably. A huge black cat, way bigger than any normal cat, stalked into the room, just moved at this unmoving grace and took the seat at the head of the table. The priest, watching closely, noticed something that just chilled him to the bone, the cat's ears. They weren't pointed up. They lay flat like horns on its head, and its eyes, wide and deep, just glared with this ancient, hateful look. Right at him. He stood up, tried to leave this hellish scene, but hands grabbed him again, forced him back down to his seat. But he thought quickly. The priest remembered he carried a small bottle of holy water. With all his strength, he flung it at the cat, and at the same time started reciting an exorcism, his voice booming. Absolute chaos erupted. Screams, panic. The farmer's terrified cries echoed through the room. The priest just kept praying, louder and louder, cutting through the noise, until this overwhelming smell of sulfur and smoke got so intense he had to get out. He fled the building. Outside, he found the farmer collapsed on the ground. His face and neck were deeply scratched, looked like by powerful claws. The farmer, utterly traumatized, physically scarred, they say he never recovered. And according to this legend, the very next morning, the Hellfire Club building stood as a burned-out ruin on the hilltop, which is pretty much how it remains today.
That's such a potent story, host. It really taps into those societal fears about secret societies and, well, the unholy. Whether you take it literally or symbolically, the image of the clergyman confronting this demonic cat, it resonates with deep-seated anxieties. What's also fascinating, though, is that even though the building was apparently ruined after that incident, the story of the Hellfire Club, and maybe the club itself, didn't quite end there. Reports say it was revived, maybe around 1771. Got a second wind, basically. And for another 30 years, the dark rumors started all over again, with maybe even more intensity. The elite were still gathering, the whispers got louder, more dark sacrifices, more black masses, actual demons summoning this time, and yes, those chilling tales of cannibalism just kept circulating.
It's almost like the fire just added fuel to the legends, didn't it? So this second version, did it meet a similar end? Another dramatic exit?
It did, according to the local stories. This second club supposedly met its final fiery end when the building burned down again. This time, supposedly during one of these satanic rituals. And tragically, it said many members died inside the fire. This apparently led to its permanent closure around 1800, leaving it in the haunted, skeletal state we see now. The building's been mostly left to the wind and rain ever since, which has just allowed these chilling stories to really harden into the enduring folklore of the place, passed down generation after generation. It really shows how deeply these events, or at least the belief in them, got lodged in the local consciousness.
And the hauntings, they say, haven't stopped. They continue right up to today, long after the last embers cooled and the final members disappeared. Even now, you hear persistent rumors about sinister cults maybe still using the place sometimes, drawn, perhaps, to the hill's dark reputation or energy. Modern visitors report some really unsettling things, feeling strange vibrations through the stones themselves, hearing these mysterious thuds when they know they're alone, seeing tall, shadowy figures moving in the ruined rooms, always just at the edge of your vision. There was one woman's account she visited, and when she got home, her cat started acting incredibly strangely, just staring intently at things she couldn't see all over her house. Their fur would stand on end, and she herself started waking up with random scratches and cuts on her body. No idea how they got there. The feeling she had, she said, was that something had followed her home, latched onto her from Montpelier Hill. And then there's that genuinely disturbing incident from 2016. A 26-year-old man just randomly attacked 3 other people with a knife right there on the hill, his explanation. Chillingly, he claimed there was a weird air about the place that compelled him to do it. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What kind of dark influence could a place like that have on someone's mind? Or is there maybe something genuinely ancient and sinister still active there? And there's one last eerie warning legend for you if you're thinking of visiting. They say, don't wear jewelry up there. Apparently, it attracts the unseen spirits said to lurk across the hill.
It brings up a really important point, host. How much of this is genuinely supernatural, and how much is down to the power of suggestion? The almost contagious nature of human belief, especially in a place with such a reputation. Our sources, they include a YouTube creator who actually went up there, explored the site. They offered a modern take on it. And despite all the legends, despite the undeniably creepy atmosphere you'd expect, they shared their personal experience. During their visits, which were in the daytime, they didn't personally feel any overwhelming presence, didn't hear voices, didn't see strange marks on the walls. They described the building itself, made with those ancient stones from the tomb, as appearing, quote, devoid of anything at all on a cold afternoon.
So in the cold light of day, it just felt empty, like just ruins. But what was their conclusion then? Did the legends just vanish under the sunlight?
Well, not exactly. The creator did speculate, of course, that maybe a visit at night would be a completely different story. Or perhaps it really is just the immense power of suggestion doing its work, filling our heads with what we expect to find when we step onto ground that's so famous for being haunted. The physical building itself, in daylight, it didn't seem to hold any concrete proof of all those horrific stories. But still, the stories themselves endure. They're not really bothered by modern skepticism or a lack of visible evidence. And that's often how it is with places like this, isn't it? The narrative becomes so powerful, so ingrained, it just colors every visit, every unexplained noise you might hear.
And that's exactly what makes places like the Hellfire Club so endlessly fascinating. Whether these terrifying stories are literal, historical truth, or just the most powerful kind of folklore, their influence continues to define the place centuries later. What really lies beneath the surface at these historic, deeply storied locations, is it just history? The darker side of human nature pushed to its absolute limits? Or is it something much older, much more sinister, that continues to cast its long, cold shadow over Montpelier Hill? Maybe some mysteries are just never meant to be fully solved. Thank you for joining us on this chilling journey into the eerie world of Ireland's Hellfire Club. If you were captivated, maybe thrilled, perhaps even just a little bit terrified by these stories, please do show your support for the Horror Docs channel. Go ahead and press that like button. Share this deep dive with anyone else who loves the mysterious and the frightening. And of course, please subscribe so you don't miss any of our future explorations into the unknown. Until next time, keep your doors locked. And maybe keep the lights on. Farewell.